What's up, Armchair Phantom? This is DaRealLastJedi back with another video. This week we're going to be talking about Star Wars Obi Wan Kenobi Episode 3 or Part 3. We had some audio issues when we did it the other night, so we decided to do this over. If you like our channel, hit subscribe, click the like button on this video if you like the video. Check out our other content, hit the notification bell. And leave comments in our comment sections below each video and give us ideas for content you'd like to see us cover. If you want to catch us on other social media, you can find us at the Facebook group Armchair Fandom, and you can find us on Twitter at armchair_fandom. Hopefully, pretty soon, if we get the interest level high enough, we'll start putting out merchandise that you can buy and hopefully a Patreon page. But like I said, help us grow the channel before any of that stuff can happen. And with all that said, let's get started. Yeah, but I only see one of you.
Well, I have to keep it on a real simple level for you simple-minded Jedi. I know 2 is about as high as you can go in terms of counting. So I figured I'd let you start out at the first number and we'll go from there.
Well, you said roll 2, but I only see one of you. So talk about being able to count.
Well,
you're one short there, genius.
You would pay attention to the video I put on your page, the Fly By Night Fandom. My Sith apprentice will be joining us in a soon-to-be upcoming video if we can get the technical glitches worked out. And then we'll be taking over this channel like we do everything else. So be ready. You've been warned.
Yeah. I need some help on the technical issues, but obviously I'm going to have to go find it somewhere else because I can't get any help from all the smarty pants on Corbon hanging out with dead bodies. So.
Well, you know, I'm basically carrying this channel and get my Sith apprentice. We bring all the levity and all the relevant content to it. It's your job to handle the technical support, and we give you one task, and you can't seem to handle it. Yeah. I don't know why. I mean, we do what we can. We can't do it all, man. I mean, I guess being on these daggone planets milking goats for green milk is about the extent of your
we don't do too bad, man. We don't do too bad. Obi Wan Kenobi Episode 3. We've already talked about this. We had some audio issues the other night, so I was distracted. I couldn't tell when you was talking and when you wasn't talking. I was hearing myself echoing in my headset, so that was totally distracting. And I didn't even try to go back and watch it. I talked to my brother after we was finished, and he said, "Yeah, you don't want to go back and check it. It's you can't tell what's going on." I was like, "Well," so we've deleted everywhere. Here we are. We're back. We're going to try to get this done. This is one of them shows. There's a couple other shows I'd rather be covering than this piece of garbage, but since this is Armchair Fandom, you would think Star Wars content would be worth discussing in a fandom channel, but evidently it's not. I finished watching Stranger Things Season 4 last night. That is great entertainment, great television, but for some reason Lucasfilm don't have the budget to do great TV. Okay, whatever.
They don't have the mental capability to do that kind of TV.
Yeah, I wish the Duffer Brothers would go over to Lucasfilm. That would be a great. That would be such a
within a week.
That'd be such a great move for Lucasfilm to give Kathleen Kennedy the boot. and go over to Netflix and give the Duffer Brothers a bunch of money to just head all of Lucasfilm. I would do that in a minute. Them guys, can you imagine them covering some of the Sith content with some of the stuff we saw last night with a massive budget? Oh my gosh.
It would
That
be,
was great.
they'd be printing money.
Yeah, but they're not
They're
going
not.
to do that.
It's all about identity politics and checking all the boxes.
That's right. Okay, Star Wars Obi Wan Kenobi streaming on Disney Plus. We're up to part 3 now. Part 1, part 2, nothing to brag about. In all honesty, I mean it's not rewatchable. I mean if you go back and watch, I would be surprised if a person loved this show so much that they just kept watching these episodes over and over and over. There's some good stuff in there. There's some Star Warsy stuff in there, but there's so much bad stuff in there. It's hard to even brag about. It's like I was talking to somebody the other night. This is good Star Wars TV. It's not good Star Wars. This looks like it belongs on the CW or something. If you really go back and watch these episodes and really critique it, I mean, I wish I could hook up with you in person and actually bring it on the TV and point out so many things that it's just so bad. There's like one scene in episode 2 when Leia escapes from Obi Wan. He's chasing her through that city that he's literally like that far from her at one moment, and she just runs off to the side. I mean, I understand he's been 10 years on Tatooine. He's disconnected himself from the Force, and he's a guy that's down and out, suffering PTSD and all this stuff. I didn't know you had to be a Jedi Master with all your skills honed in at the present time to be able to reach out and grab a 10-year-old by the arm.
Well, I personally liked it when there was this one channel that put out a skit of showing Leia running off with the people trying to kidnap her and playing the theme, the yakety sax, while it was doing it. It was just perfect.
Yeah, so we get to episode 3. Like I said, there's some Star Wars stuff in here that's okay. It's cool and everything, but you can't. Disney Lucasfilm is becoming the masters of key jangling. Hey, look, here's Leia. Hey, look, here's a mention from Obi-Wan about something that happened 10 years ago. Hey, look, here's a little miniature puppet of Yoda that we call Grogu. Everybody knows this is repackaged Yoda. It's just like they keep dangling these keys in front of you, getting you to tune in. But the stuff they're putting around, the stuff that draws us in, is not good. You got.
It's like they went to Kevin Feige, and Kevin Feige told them, "Hey, look, what we do with Marvel, we give little Easter eggs here and there and throw stuff in there to keep people interested." Well, they're jangling the keys, but they're not putting the content in there to keep you engaged in what's going on. That once you want to look forward to what's coming next.
Yeah, you don't really care, is the point. Like after this series is over, I don't really care what happened before this or what happened after it. The thing that George Lucas did masterfully in the original trilogy is he told this story in such a way that you was really curious to know what happened. I mean, when he has Obi-Wan talking to Luke Skywalker in the first Star Wars movie, he says, "Hey, I was friends with your father, and we fought a long time ago before the dark times came in the Clone Wars together. He was a good friend." You want to go back and learn. You want to know more about that relationship and all that stuff. The stuff that Lucasfilm puts around the characters that we already know, we don't care about it. We care about what we know. We don't care about the new stuff they're giving us around the stuff that we know. I mean, they're not creative.
No, it's like somebody went and told them, "Okay, look, we have the people that watched it before. They're still wanting to see stuff. We'll show them just enough stuff. All we're interested in is putting all this new stuff in that nobody wants to see. So we're trying to cater to both sides of the fence, and really, you're servicing none."
Well, they're servicing a small group of people. I mean, I seen where the show was like at 50 some, like between 55 and 61% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's no higher than like a 6 or 7 on Metacritic. I mean, you got Star Wars content coming out. I mean, if you go look at this is what I mean by it's decent Star Wars TV, but it's not good Star Wars. if you go if you go look at all of the movies that came out under George Lucas, all of the movies, even the prequels, got like a 6 out of 10, a 7 out of 10, somewhere in that range. And you look at this, and this is a TV show, and it's not even carrying a 6 out of 10 for a TV show.
Well, if you remember, you mentioned to me the other day a quote from Robert Meyer Burnett when he talked about, and I saw it on one of the shows he appears on, and he said that Star Wars is a film franchise, and it's okay to have TV stuff, but there's no direction going toward future films. There's no big announcements of a direction with films. There's nothing. All this content, except for certain elements, is geared to the big screen. We're not getting any of that.
Yeah. So let's get into this episode. We left off at the end of episode 2. Obi-Wan had found 10-year-old Leia, and they had escaped on this transport off-world from Daiyu. And we see Reva, yelling at him, which is a horrible scene. She's yelling at him kind of like, I don't know, a 12-year-old yelling at the kid they're bullying that's running, that hops over the fence and escapes, and we'll get you, Obi-Wan. It was just so cheesy, I thought. But anyways, they escape, and she tells him prior that Anakin's still alive, and he is Darth Vader. So without even going into any of that, we pick up in episode 3. Vader and Leia's on this transport escape, and they're supposed to be going to this planet called I forget what it was called, Mapazu or something like that. And they're supposed to be going there to meet somebody that's going to help them get back to Alderaan, so that Leia can be safe and Obi Wan Kenobi can go back to whatever he was doing, chopping up sea shark or whatever, sand shark. So
it was a desert butcher, sir.
He was a desert butcher.
Yeah. He was working the butcher block.
I mean, you got this shark in the first episode sticking up halfway out of sand. And I heard people like, that's one of them creatures from where Tatooine used to be covered with water. How long has this thing been laying out there and they're still eating it?
Yeah, really doing a good job of continuity and making sense of what's going on is not their strength at this time.
You got this thing that's laying out in the sand. It's hard to tell how long it's been laying out there. And they're taking days to cut this thing up. Like, it's got to be rotten and stinking. But here, Obi-Wan's taking it and feeding it to his sand camel or whatever that thing is. I've seen it in the prequels. Somebody could tell me, I would know what it was called. But anyways, I'm getting way off. I'm just ranting too much right now. After watching Stranger Things last night, I can't give this show any love as a Star Wars fan. So they land on this planet where they're supposed to hook up with people that's going to help them get away. And when they get to the spot they're supposed to meet them, they're not there yet. So Obi-Wan, he's ready to get out of there. He feels like they're under threat. But you got the calmer, of course, smarter 10-year-old that tells him he needs to be a little bit more patient. And then she immediately runs and she tells him he needs to be more patient, and then immediately runs and hitches a ride with what Christian Harloff would refer to as rat-faced Magoo. So what's your take so far? Anything you want to add?
I would think that, again, Obi-Wan had always been known for his patience throughout the prequels. And now, just after being 10 years being a desert butcher, he has no patience. He doesn't have the connection to the Force that he clearly once had. And basically, Princess Leia, who, ironically enough, is proven correct. And Obi-Wan's the one that tells her to leave, especially when he sees that vision of Anakin we're as Darth Vader before the Mustafar battle. So that shakes Obi-Wan up again. So they start going out. Leia sticks out her thumb, finds a hitchhiking on that transport with, basically what Harloff called him, and then they're off and picking up stormtroopers and have a nice bus conversation with Imperial stormtroopers.
Yeah, he picks up stormtroopers. This guy's obviously faithful to the Empire. He mentions there's nothing wrong with a little bit of order. So, I mean, I do like the fact that they give us a little bit of insight into the fact that there were some people during this time that not everybody felt threatened or disliked the Empire. So it was good to see a little bit of that. But like you said, they make up a story of what their names are, and they get Obi-Wan messes it up and calls Leia the wrong name, calls her Leia when they've already told these people that her name's Luma, and then he tells them when they confront him on it, he tells them that he was thinking about her mother when he called her Leia, which gives callback to Padme, because we've seen callbacks through this whole series where Leia is reminding Obi-Wan of Padme, and then it leads into a conversation where Obi-Wan has to tell Leia a little bit about the fact that he knew her mother, and she says, "Are you my father?" And he says, "No," and but that he knew her father, and some of that stuff's good, man, because it's connective tissue that takes us back to the prequel era and what everything that happened. But like I said earlier, the stuff they put around that connective tissue is what doesn't work. It's like everything. It's like the only thing Disney Lucasfilm can do that works is what's already been done. But all of their original content surrounding what's already been done is the stuff that falls flat.
Well, here's a radical idea. Whenever Obi-Wan was sitting, that just occurred to me. When Obi-Wan was sitting there with Leia, sitting there at the stormtroopers, and he messes up on the correct name, why didn't he just do the, you know, you don't need to see, you don't need to ask about those questions. We can go on about our business. Or you, like in the prequels, you don't want to sell us a death stick. You want to move on with your life. Apparently, Obi-Wan forgot how to use a Jedi mind trick while slicing up sand sharks.
Yeah. Talk about that a few more seconds, Ashley. I'm trying to do something here. Go ahead. Take us on from that point.
Okay.
If you
Well,
don't
anyway.
mind.
Okay. I'll take the calm now. Well, anyway, after that, they come up to a checkpoint, and of course, the driver rats them out to the stormtroopers after they dropped off the previous badge. And basically, Obi-Wan has to, get them out of it by, killing the stormtroopers. And then as soon as they get past the barrier, here comes the transport that looks like they're getting ready to capture them, and it turns out to be another person from Game of Thrones, the one who worked with Pedro Pascal, one of the Martells, I believe, and she bails them out, and turns out she's not an Imperial officer; she's a rebel sympathizer, and she takes them into town and starts to prepare the way for them to succeed to get off world. And then, of course, by the time while she's getting them ready and everything, the Inquisitors arrive. The third sister, the fifth brother, and another very important character known as Darth Vader. And
yeah, so Darth Vader shows up. They ride on out there. They get through the gate. The Imperial officer, the Harriet Tubman of the Empire, shows up disguised as an Imperial officer and shoots the stormtroopers in the back. And they figure out that's their contact, so they take them to this safe house. What are you laughing at? You like that Harriet Tubman reference, didn't you?
Well, I like the fact that she shoots them all in the back, and they figure out that's their contact. Boy, if that's not your contact, I don't know what kind of sign you're waiting on.
Yeah. She shoots the stormtroopers in the back, and Obi-Wan gets saved by a strong woman, and they get on the transport. He's being led around by a strong 10-year-old woman, and then he gets saved by a strong older strong woman, and then the strong women, the strong older woman, and the 10-year-old strong woman take him to the safe house to protect him. He's scared out of his wits. Leia ain't scared at all. She's the one that's been kidnapped, and there's some kind of plot against her. She's not scared at all. Uh, However, this Jedi Master, Obi Wan Kenobi, who's responsible for training the most powerful Sith Lord in the history of the Sith, is scared out of his wits.
Well, two things of that. First of all, I would contend that the most powerful Sith in the history of the Sith was Darth Bane, not Darth Vader, but Vader was close. Secondly, you're forgetting another major contribution that Obi-Wan did. He fixed Leia's mechanical that she had her feel better. It was always doing stuff like everyone. So once again, Lucasfilms fails to pay heed to what was done in the past.
Yeah, so he's at this safe house now. They got this droid there called a loader droid. Looks like I like somebody's take on it, the Lou Ferrigno droid. But he's obviously the droid that protects them. They go in the safe house. He notices this is a cool call out to anybody that watched the Clone Wars series on Disney. Uh, the Clone Wars animated series, and they actually copied this character off of a brief appearance from somebody in the Phantom Menace, and then they retconned it and said the guy in Phantom Menace was actually him, but a character named as Quinlan Voss. There's a call out to him because Obi-Wan sees his name written on this wall. So the people that's coming through this underground railroad through this safe house etches their names on the wall so they can let the Empire, if they ever discover this place, know that all these people that's come through there is actually still alive instead of just disappeared somewhere and not having any idea whether they're alive or dead. If they ever uncover the safe house, everybody whose name is on the wall is going to be hunted down again. So that don't make any sense. But anyways, this safe house, Quinlan Voss's, there's a call out to him, and it becomes nighttime. They're waiting on the pilot to be ready to leave to get Obi-Wan and Leia off of this planet and, help them escape. And like you said, we see the Inquisitors and Darth Vader show up. We hear people down the street of this town start screaming, and that's when the Inquisitors line up. We see Darth Vader start marching down the street. Now, this stuff was cool, man. I'm not going to lie. I don't think they did Darth Vader in a bad way. As a matter of fact, we didn't talk about this, but at the very beginning of the episode, there's a scene with Darth Vader and the third sister having an exchange of conversation. He knows that her aspirations are to be the Grand Inquisitor, and he basically threatens her not to fail him. That was a good exchange. I thought the voice of Darth Vader was done awesome. It's obviously James Earl Jones, but I think somebody reported that they did use some kind of voice manipulation technology to make him sound younger. Because if you go back and listen to him in Rogue One, you can tell James Earl Jones's voice is older as he's doing Vader. Uh, so that sounded real good. Vader looks good. Whoever was in the suit, whether it was Hayden or somebody else, had the Vader march down perfectly.
Damn.
Was it Hayden? Was it Hayden?
I heard it was Hayden. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I didn't know anybody had confirmed that, but he done a great job with the Vader march. And so Vader comes down this town. He starts force grabbing people out of their houses, snapping people's necks. He's causing harm to these people, trying to draw Obi-Wan out.
Yep, and he starts doing that, and of course, Obi-Wan starts having the PTSD stuff again, which I didn't know existed in Star Wars, but apparently it does. And basically, that the accomplice tells him that he tells his lady was helping you all leave Vader away. So he goes out there. Vader starts going after him, and of course the third sister decides to go become detective and immediately manages to find all the ways to get through the tunnel and everything else in just a snap of a finger.
Yeah, and so Obi-Wan tells us what was her name, Tala. One moment between them, one exchange between them that I did like is when she says that she worked for the Empire before she knew what they actually were, and she tells Obi-Wan, I made some mistakes," and Obi-Wan says, "We all did." I like that little callback to the mistakes him and the Jedi made in charge of the Jedi Order back in the prequels, all the mistakes they made, and how he's still
Right.
feeling guilt from that. Uh, so Tala takes Leia and begins run up this tunnel behind this secret passageway, evidently to go to find the pilot. And Obi-Wan goes out to confront Vader. He goes out to confront Vader, but then he don't confront Vader, and then he confronts Vader, but then he don't confront Vader. All that stuff didn't make any sense. But he goes out and he's sneaking around these sand dunes or whatever they are, and it's a mining planet, is what it is. And Vader finally confronts him, and Obi-Wan ignites his lightsaber, which is a cool shot. Anytime you see the lightsabers in the dark and you get that glow off of them, looks cool. I always go back to Attack of the Clones and the fight between Anakin and Dooku in that one when Anakin was using two lightsabers. And so Obi-Wan asks him, says, "What have you become?" And Darth Vader says, "I am what you made me." Uh, it's not great Star Wars dialogue. Star Wars has never been known for really great dialogue, but I honestly like some of the dialogue in the original trilogy. I didn't like this exchange necessarily, but we have that exchange. Obi-Wan just keeps fleeing from him. They end up having a confrontation briefly. What's your take on all of this?
Well, like you said, they kind of just did. He acted like he was going to fight. You could tell Obi-Wan was trying to buy time. And then when they finally decided that, they ignited the lightsabers and started going at it, Vader pretty much clings his clock. He lifts him up, throws him down, and in a really nice twist that I didn't see coming, ignites some of the debris and turned it into fire and puts Obi-Wan in the fire. And you knew Anakin was drawing some personal satisfaction out of the fact seeing his old master burn.
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
was probably the highlight for me.
yeah. I like that. And
That's
some
great.
of the complaints other people had that I've heard are not necessarily the complaints I've had. All of this stuff was fine with me. There wasn't quite enough of it, but I'm holding out for the last three episodes, hoping we get more of this type of stuff. It wasn't
Right.
perfect for me, but it was probably the highlight of the episode. Uh, I mean, anything dealing with the old characters, and I don't have a problem with the young characters like Leia,
No,
and
she's
I
good.
don't have a problem with new characters. George Lucas introduced new characters in the prequel trilogy, some of which fell flat like Jar Jar Binks, but some of which the fandom still like. The Star Wars fans still love, kind of like Mace Windu and Qui Gon Jinn. There's very seldom Disney creates a new character that I really like, especially on these TV shows.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you. I have no problem with new characters, and believe it or not, I think they've really cast a lot of them really well. I mean, I think they casted Ahsoka well. I think they've casted the casting of this young lady. I think you could, and again, I'm going to bring that book out next time we do a broadcast of Leia, Princess of Alderaan, written by Claudia Gray. This lady, 10 years old, is going to be that. Their has been really spot on. There's a lot to like about the show, and probably the highlight for me for this episode was the fight we just discussed and the call out to Quinlan's boss. As a big Clone Wars fan, as you know him as well, the Clone Wars.
Yeah, so to wrap this up here in the next few minutes, uh, what I heard most people complain about is Darth Vader uses the Force to knock over this container, this stuff that they're mining on this planet, which actually looks crystallized, and he bends down and strikes his lightsaber on it, which makes it ignite. He pulls Obi-Wan by the Force into this fire, and Obi-Wan's his arm's starting to burn and stuff. And then Obi-Wan puts the flame out and tells the stormtroopers to bring Obi-Wan to him. So his plan is obviously to make Obi-Wan suffer. But at this point, Tala, the strong woman, is going to save Obi-Wan one more time. So she shoots and ignites the fire again. And everybody had a problem with Darth Vader standing there and watching this droid while this fire is ignited come in and grab Obi-Wan and rescue him. I don't have a problem with that because if you know how Vader operates, if you go back to Empire Strikes Back, he was way ahead of Han Solo and everybody. He watched that Millennium Falcon take off from Hoth at the end of the opening scene in Empire Strikes Back. And from the moment he watched that Millennium Falcon take off, he was still one step ahead of them the whole way because they make it to this, was it Vespa? When they get there, Lando Calrissian's in charge of this mining planet, which was good friends with Han Solo. Yeah, Cloud City. But when they open that door and walk in, Vader's already waiting on them. Vader was one step ahead of them that whole time. So it's well within Vader's characteristics as soon as that woman shot and ignited that fire to put his vendetta against Obi-Wan on hold so that he can find out who these other people are and snuff them out, so to speak. I had no problem with that, with him allowing Obi-Wan to get away in that moment because there's more fish to fry in his mind when that happens.
Well, like you say, Vader wants to get the whole network of them. And remember, this is the end of episode 3. You and I both discussed at the previous point how we liked the fact that and they had them confront each other earlier in the series than we anticipated. You and I both thought it'd be at the end of episode 5 with one episode to go, and that's all you get. So that shows you they're come. Hopefully, it'll be better.
Yeah. So then the droid helps Obi-Wan escape, and the next scene we see is Reva. At this point, the third sister has found out where the safe house is at, has found out where the secret doorway to the tunnel leading to where the pilot's at, and somehow I've watched it multiple times. I don't see that there's a network of tunnels in there. All I can tell is that there's one tunnel, and Tala and Leia was way up in the tunnel already when Tala left and went back out. She would have had to have passed Reva on her way back out if you go back and watch it. And for some reason, Leia's way ahead of her, but she's able to beat Leia to the other end of this tunnel, kill the pilot, and then she's waiting on Leia when she gets there. I don't know how that happened. That was horrible writing. They didn't show a network of tunnels, that there's different pathways, that she could have beat her down to the other end of that tunnel or anything. It was just like they just skipped that part in the process. And hey, man, you know what would be really cool is if his character's already waiting on her when she gets down there. Don't you think we should explain that a little bit? No, that's all right. Star Wars fans are stupid. They'll buy it.
Yep, I mean, like you said, they don't do a very good job of connecting the dots, and it's like what? This wasn't a network of bases. They would have had to have passed like 2 ships in the night without, and it's just like you really expect. I know it's Star Wars, but can't we add a little believability to the fact that something as simple as that?
Yeah, I mean, just one little shot of showing that there's an intersection where there's more than one way you can go to get, that there's more than one tunnel in this place. You don't even have to go into a lot of detail to show that this person went this way and this person went that way. All you do is show them stop in an intersection. Tala tells Leia to keep going straight, and and then we have an excuse as Star Wars fans that'll eat up anything, that will consume anything, to explain that Reva went right or left at this intersection and it went around and was a shortcut to where Leia was going. That's all we needed. We didn't need a detailed explanation of which way Reva went. We just needed something so that we could make excuses for how she beat Leia to the other end of the tunnel. Star Wars fans will make excuses and forgive just about anything. That's how much we love this franchise.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, whenever they how did the go on the end of the tunnel? It's like Kyle stopped off to get a snack or something like that, and the third sister just passed her up and said, "Well, I got this. You go ahead and get your snack at the drive-through." I mean, what in the world happened there?
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but anyways, that was the end of the episode.
It's like it's every I hate that movie. Every time they need just in the right pin at the right spot to get something. The Death Star from Episode 6 just happened to have power still running on it where they could run that stuff. Hey, some of this stuff is not believable.
Yeah, I mean, that's the end of the episode. That was the end of the episode. Like I say, I'm enjoying this, but I'm not blown away by it. I've said different times on this channel, when I go to Star Wars movies or watch a Star Wars show, the movies up until the Rise of Skywalker, the prequel trilogy, I didn't see any of the original trilogy in theaters. I watched them on VHS years later. But when George Lucas re-released them in the mid '90s on the big screen with the changes that he made in them, I went and saw each one of them at the theater then. And I've never come out of any Star Wars movie other than The Rise of Skywalker that I didn't immediately want to start just going back and forth and watching it over and over and over and over. This, I feel like after I watch this series, I'll never watch it again. There's not enough in here to make me even want to watch it over. And I know what you're saying about the actress that plays Leia and some of this other side stuff that's cool, but like Leia to me would have been much better served if you cast this actress and you show her more involved. I mean, I would have been interested in seeing a young Leia series with just her and Jimmy Smits being involved in the political stuff and her being her little snarky, sarcastic self as she's grown up, involved in the political aspect of things. I'm not enjoying her involved in the Obi Wan story. I'm not enjoying this plot because uh, I just think it's distracting. First of all, if you don't know this, as Lucasfilm, you're just clueless. The vast majority of Star Wars fans, unless they're just shields and apologists for Disney, when you bring up this timeline and what Obi Wan Kenobi was doing, most people believe he was on Tatooine protecting Luke Skywalker. I bet you 99 out of 100 people would say
Yep.
that before this series came out. I just think this is a misdirection. I'm enjoying the stuff with Darth Vader and Obi Wan, but I'm just not finding this series being very good. I would give this episode, probably the highest I'd give this episode is a 6, and that's just because I've thought about when we recorded this Wednesday night. I gave it a 8. But I mean, I'm just really down on this episode. I'd give it a 6. I'd give the previous episodes probably like a 6. I might bump this one up to like a 7, and the previous ones are like a 6. And Darth Vader and Vader saved this episode for me.
Right. I'll give this episode a 7. And again, I think I went into this series with so many expectations. It's almost anytime you go into a series or show like with high expectations, you're bound to be disappointed. There's been a lot of stuff I've liked about it, but there's been several things I could have done without. And I'm hoping that it ends on a high note because there's rumors out there that they've already have a season and they've changed it. Go up. You don't know what going to.
Well, we'll see, man. I know it ain't good when you're having to create narratives online to distract from people actually not liking your content. You got to blame it on a bunch of ghosts that don't exist, but or like 4 very obscure Twitter accounts, and we all know, me and you know what I'm talking about, but it's ridiculous. That right there shows me they knew that they was either pushing something they knew people wasn't going to like, or they didn't think it was very good, because they released all that stuff 2 weeks before the series started. I mean, they're really Jedi and they can read the future, or they didn't have a lot of confidence in how this was going to be received. And for that reason alone, I don't feel like I owe them the benefit of the doubt on anything.
Yeah. It's I think for the stuff that's happened in the past with Gina Carano, for them to totally walk out to the side and start going and start the bait and switch with this actress that plays the third sister. I mean, I'm not saying that there's not trolls out there that did what they alleged happened, but I don't think that's indicative of the entire Star Wars fan base. And I think when you start putting that at the forefront, you're trying to cover up a more glaring problem and get people's attention directed elsewhere.
Yeah, yeah. So I give this episode a 7. The other 2 episodes I've dropped my scores down to a 6. Ashley gives it a 7. If you like Star Wars, man, you should check it out. Darth Vader's in it. Obi-Wan's in it. You might not like the story. You might love it. So we're not trying to discourage you from watching it. If you're a Star Wars fan, you should always check out new Star Wars content, in my opinion. But
Agree.
with that said, uh, like this video if you watch it. Any of our other videos that you watch, hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell, and you'll receive notification anytime we have new content available. Leave comments in the comment section. If we don't cover content that you like, send us ideas. Send us movies you'd like to review. Anything you'd like to see as content creators put out that you might like our take on. Put that in our comment section. You can reach us on Facebook at the Facebook group Armchair Fandom, and you can reach us on Twitter at armchair_fandom. You can reach my personal Facebook account at James Lucas. You can reach me personally on Twitter at DaRealLastJedi with a D at the beginning. Ashley, how can they reach you?
They can find me on Twitter at Ashley Houchins, and they can find us on Armchair Fandom Facebook group. And like you say, share, like the video, share it, and tell your friends about it. And don't forget about the Amazon gift cards. Everybody likes Amazon. Send in your questions, comments, things you'd like us to add for. And if he calls you out or you.
With that said, everybody have a good night.
Later.